This absolutely bizarre piece of legislation seems like it's heading for Congress right as we speak. Chris Anders is with us. Chris is the Senior Legislative Counsel with the Washington Legislative Office of the ACLU. That's the DCACLU.org. And Chris, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Chris. I assume Legislative Counsel means you're an attorney?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so you can speak of this with perhaps a little more authority than just the average political observer. Am I correct? And I first started getting emails about this a week or so ago, and people were saying, Tom, if they decide that you're a terrorist or that they suspect that you're a terrorist, they can just lock you up and make you vanish for the rest of your life, and nobody will ever know. And I'm like, come on, you've been listening to Alex Jones, and then I read your piece by the ACLU. I read it on Common Dreams. Senators demand the military lock up American citizens in a battlefield they define as being right outside your window, and said to myself, holy cow, these people were not hysterics. And so let me just ask you, is this true?
It is, and it's amazing. You would think that this is some huge conspiracy theory generated kind of thing. But this is for real, and this is being debated literally right now. Actually, the senators just left for a lunch break, but it was debated this morning on the Senate floor. It's going to get a vote at about 2:15, somewhere between 2:15 and 2:30. So a lot of senators are still making up their mind. Most of them had not seen this language and hadn't looked at it till just a few days ago. So most of them are still making up their mind literally right now. So it's a good time for people to hear from constituents. But the other thing too is that this is so extreme that it does involve American citizens. This does involve people who could be picked up even in the United States itself and be put into military prisons potentially for the rest of their lives without ever being charged with a crime. And one of the most amazing exchanges this morning on the Senate floor was Senator Rand Paul from Tea Party Republican from Kentucky, who actually is opposing these provisions, which is good for him. Yeah. He asked Senator McCain, who's supporting them, he said, well, isn't it true that American citizens could be picked up by the military, not charged with any crime, and sent to Guantanamo? And John McCain didn't deny it. Instead, he started talking about, well, how American citizens, if they're a threat to their country, have put themselves in the camp of being enemy belligerents and should be treated that way.
Now, we used to have a law that was passed during Reconstruction in the 1870s, as I recall, maybe late 1860s, yep. Posse Comitatus, which said that, we just suffered a horrible civil war. Never again will federal military forces have the legal authority to turn their guns on American citizens on American soil. That was repealed during the Bush administration in one of these military appropriations bills. We no longer have Posse Comitatus. So the military.
No, actually, that was actually then restored later.
It was.
So it's still good law. It was for about a year. The Posse Comitatus Act was riddled with loopholes. But then a year later, Congress came to its senses, realized what it had done, and put the pieces back together.
Well, Baruch Hashem for that. But thank God for that. But then doesn't this contradict that?
It does, and that's one of the other concerns we have, is that this law has been around for about 140 years. That basically said that the military cannot be used for law enforcement within the United States. But here's the problem: is that a lot of people have counted on that protection almost like it's part of the Constitution, but it's not. And instead,
it's just a law.
It's a statute, and so it's only as good as the commitment of every future Congress and every future president to uphold it and not to carve exceptions to it.
Right.
So it's not. It's only the protection is only as good as this Congress's commitment to it. And
or the executive branch could just choose not to enforce it, the way that Ronald Reagan stopped enforcing the Sherman Antitrust Act and its followers back in 1982. I mean, it's still on the books.
And I think but the concern we have here is that this is something that is being, this legislation is being rushed through the Senate.
Right.
It's already, there's a different version of this already passed the House back in May.
With this nasty language in it?
Well, it's actually in some ways worse. It doesn't have all these detention provisions in, but on the House side, the defense authorization bill has in it essentially a worldwide declaration of war. So it's basically a worldwide authorization for this president, any future president, to use military force anywhere where a terrorism suspect.
So here we are in 1984, perpetual peace by virtue of perpetual war. First of all, I understand that Senator Udall has proposed an amendment to strip out the awful language on that.
Yeah.
And everybody should be callcongress.org has phone numbers that you can use to call Congress, and just you should be calling Congress now and say support Senator Udall's amendment.
Yep.
But or just tell them no. But this, it's like, what can we do? I mean, where do we go with this? This is going to have to go back to a joint House-Senate conference committee, right? Because these are not.
We're just going to start almost right away. I mean,
right.
They're going to try to jam this through within the next 2 weeks.
And then the president has to sign it. And so there's still 2 more points of pressure for those of us who are genuinely horrified by this.
Yes, and the good thing with the president is that the White House has threatened to veto it. The Director of National Intelligence, the Secretary of Defense, and the Director of the FBI, Robert Mueller, have all come out against these provisions.
Wow!
But the problem is that this is something that is being pushed by Senator Levin, a Democrat from Michigan, these bad provisions, and John McCain, and they're pulling out all the stops.
I'm totally baffled by this, Chris. John McCain was the guy who said torture is wrong. He'd been there, and traditionally had been a little libertarian-ish. And Carl Levin, I used to live in Michigan. I've kept track of Carl Levin's career over the years. He's a pretty good guy. What are these people thinking?
He is. I think it became something that they felt like there became a kind of a frenzy on the Armed Services Committee this late spring to do something about detention, and they started drafting, and it seems like they just kind of got carried away. And this is part of what happens when you hide the ball on the American public, because there wasn't a single hearing on this, and it was a closed markup, which means nobody saw this language until it was a done deal.
Wow.
And if this thing had seen the light of day, and there had been hearings on it, and people had an opportunity to look at it, people like you and your listeners had an opportunity to see it, then we wouldn't be in this mess we are right now on the Senate floor. People would have weighed in long earlier and said no, you shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
But now they've dug in their heels on this, and it's kind of come hell or high water. They're going to try to get this through the Senate. Your listeners, though, really should be calling, because within the next hour, about an hour from now, the Senate's going to be voting, and lots of senators have not made up their minds yet.
Right, and even if this vote goes wrong today, if somebody calls several hours from now or calls tomorrow, there will have to be another vote, because there's going to be a conference committee, because the House and Senate legislation is not identical.
Yeah, the message is to vote yes on the Udall amendment.
Yes, vote yes on the Udall amendment. Strip out the craziness in the military appropriations bill, the defense appropriations bill.